Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nuruzana.
Hi, my name is Nur Shahira Atika binti Batia.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Luman.
Hi, I am Amirul Imran bin Halib. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir. Rabbi tammim bil khair. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all our fellow friends and our beloved lecturer Dr. Wanzu Musni. Alright, today our group wanted to present and discuss with you guys about the title Effect of Pandemic for Travel Industries during COVID-19. So, let's discuss.
As we all know, coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19 has bring negative impacts in terms of many forms. The first response to the pandemic was to close borders and limit human mobility through the implementation of Movement Control Order (MCO) on 18 March 2020. The action taken by government was effectively, but somehow it gave negative impacts to tourism industry. As mentioned by Yozu and Celine, 2020 tourism industry is very vulnerable to crises like pandemic. Moreover, based on Tourism Economic 2020, COVID-19 is the most serious crisis tourism industry has ever faced, and its impact is estimated to extend for 8 months or more, which they are expected to recover not before 2023. Let's move to our first point, which tourism industry suffered losses during the pandemic. As reported by the United Nations World Tourism Organization 2020, tourism has shown 22% of decline in first quarter of 2020, and the also estimated trend of decline by end of 2020, which is expected to rise from 60% to 80%. The industry has already experienced 67% less tourist mobility and $80 billion loss from tourists compared to first quarter in 2019. In Malaysia, the effect of COVID-19 has sustained the Visit Malaysia 2020 as 64% of Malaysia tourists come from China, Singapore and Indonesia, and led to the decline and cancellation of huge number of tourist trips to our country. Moreover, the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture Malaysia estimated losses incurred by the travel industry from January to March 2020 as 9 billion ringgit. Due to the implementation of MCO, hotel booking cancellation reports show around 170,085 rooms were cancelled, worth of 68 million ringgit revenues. On top of that, the hospitality sector has lost 510 million ringgit from room revenues, and during the second phase of MCO, the estimated loss is 570 million ringgit. Besides that, during the pandemic, you can see that there are some of the organizations have treated their employees unfairly. Extensive job loss has intensified the injustice, vulnerability, and long-facing challenges by the workers in the form of less benefit and low wages in the industry. Malay Mail 2020 reported that from 18 March to 27 April 2020, COVID-19 has magnified the previously unimpeded abusive management practices, where the Malaysian Trade Union Congress MTUC has received a total of 678 complaints reported from the hotel sector employees, involving 37 cases for forced leave, 383 for a pay cut, 186 for dismissal, 54 were forced to take unpaid leave, and 17 cases in connection with the enforcement of MCO. For example, Lucas 2020 reported an in-owned company, namely Darden Restaurants, offered employees to take sick leave amidst the outbreak. Similarly, Hamza 2020 expressed his disappointment in a group discussion which was a part of the planning process and preparation of the National Tourism Policy Malaysia from 2020 to 2030. The participants, comprising various tourism associations, were asked whether the members would clinch with a more ethical form of tourism business operations in the next decades. Surprisingly, of the members could envision a sincere commitment towards this ideal.
Former philosophers found that the tourism sector plays an important role and may affect economic growth. 1.4 billion world tourism visits were recorded in 2018. The pandemic COVID-19 affected almost every country in the world seriously, contributing to the economic downturn. The International Labour Organization has analysed the impact as rising global unemployment between 5.3 million to 24.7 million due to the lack of economic activities. More than 10% of world GDP and 30% of international market facilities compose the global tourism market. Market sectors has caused a global deficit of more than 820 billion US dollar during this pandemic. According to WTTC, tourism industry seems to be more expected to rebound slowly than other sectors as it took more than 19 months to rehab from the previous pandemic. Next is decreasing in demand of travel. The UNWTO forecast that international tourist arrival could slip from 20% to 30%, which amounting the loss between 30 to 50 billion US dollar. Meanwhile, International Civil Aviation Organization data shows a 38% drop in global air capacity, where the number of passengers fell from 44% to 80%, indicating the highest decrease and began to fall earlier. Beside airline industry, there also have been a massive reduction in hotel industry worldwide, where Asia with 67.8% and Europe with 61.7%, as well as worldwide tenants have declined considerably by 20% to over 70%. The consequence of the COVID-19 has been measured according to the cancelled flight and hotel, as well as the condition of the staff in the sectors.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Luqmanul Hakim Bimaskur and I'm going to present about the main idea number 5. For the point number 5, there is no job securities. The employees' jobs are at risk. For the first supporting detail is about the hospitality and tourism industry in Bangladesh have been affected by the pandemic towards the major cities like Dhaka, Chittagong and Cox's Bazar. Next, many tourists from several other countries cancel their hotel reservation in Bangladesh, leading to major financial loss for the tourism and hotel industry due to a lack of tourists. According to the New Nation 2020, hotels had previously been entirely booked by foreign residents and visitors from Bangladesh and abroad. Lastly, the pandemic also has a negative effect on inbound and outbound tourism in Bangladesh, leading to a decline in the tourism industry. That is because prior to the pandemic, the tourism market in Bangladesh has increased significantly. For the point number 6, it is about the duration of travelers to Bangladesh. For the first supporting detail is about Bangladesh global airline industry has suffered enormous loss because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Next, global travel bans significantly affected airlines and put operators under intense financial pressure. For the third supporting detail is Hossain 2020 note that Biman Bangladesh Airline, which Bangladesh national flagship airline, suffered a loss of 13 million US dollar between January and March 2020. Last but not least, Biman Bangladesh has taken a number of initiatives to reduce their loss, including a 10% reduction in basic salaries for employees, the suspension of overtime pay, and the reduction of all additional allowance.
Alright guys, so for the point number 7 is about the postponement. So the postponement, okay, moreover, the tourism, okay, is the tourism demand is not based on the physical need, okay. They are can be postponed. Alright, so taking into the consideration that we have already lost our high season, which is in summer in September because of the COVID-19. Alright, so in this season, okay, the industries targeted the third group, which is the retired people. Okay, we have a stable income to travel all over the world, but because of the COVID-19, okay, this is need to be postponed. Right, so the other factors that make them to postpone, okay, because they must to follow the standard of procedure. They need to do a social distancing and need to sanitize all over the time. Okay, this is the reason why they wanted to postpone their travel. Okay, and also they are consists of the risky group that considering to travel. Okay, and they are considered to travel in the other time. Right. So the next one is the tourism industry may also face the new setup arrangement. Right. For example, okay, the age 25 and above is allowed to travel, but in the condition of they need to be quarantined. Okay, 14 days upon the arrival, and also okay, they must to have proof that they are allowed and resist from the COVID-19. Okay guys, we now reach to the peak of our discussion about the last but not least, the point number 8, which is long-term damage. What is the term of damage in this context? The damage is a rapid and long-term decline of the revenues. All right. So in this particular thing, okay, tourism might see the rapid and long-term decline in their revenues. Right. So the purchase power could be reduced in this pandemic COVID-19. So the many activities such as conventions, sports activity, recreational, Olympics, and the gathering that include the large scale of the people is not allowed and are being cancelled. Right. So the business also will change their mode from the actual meeting to the virtual meeting, such as through the Teams, through the social media and all that. So however, this time can also be used, right, in terms of to modify and to the improvement in terms of the infrastructure, okay, over the tourism landscape change and governance destination, right. So these are all things that can be improved from the agency or the industry in the tourism from time to time, to make them improve, to make them generate their income, and also can make them alert with the outbreak happen.
In conclusion, COVID-19 brings big impacts on the tourism industry. As the impact of the pandemic is expected to be unpredictable, things are not going to get back to normal as it was before the pandemic. Rather, we need to readjust ourselves to the new normal. Thus, the tourism industries and public shall adapt themselves to the new standard operating procedure SOP. For example, as to encourage people to travel in Malaysia, the government has lifted the restriction to travel over the border by imposing Recovery Movement Control Order (RMCO), or also known as PKPP. As a result, the businesses in travel industry could survive again. Therefore, let us get ourselves well prepared with the new normal and stay safe while traveling, and let us increase the economy of the nation by helping one to another.